Hello and welcome back to the Geordie Pig Investor channel. Today I'm going to take you through my portfolio, give you a full update on the Snowball Analytics app because I have recently hit a massive milestone within the portfolio as my annual dividend income has surpassed the £1,000 mark as shown here on your screen. And in today's video, I'm going to break down where this £1,000 is going to come from month to month and also show you the different stocks that I own within my portfolio and the direction that I'm hoping my portfolio will be heading. If we have a look at my portfolio overall value right now, we can see it's around about £34,800 and I've actually invested myself £32,192 and we can see my total profit as of right now is just over £2,600. One thing that I love about Snowball Analytics and this app when plugging in your portfolio onto here, it shows you the capital gains you've made within the portfolio. It'll also break down the realized P&L, the dividends received, how much you paid in taxes, how much you've had to pay in fees, and then any other transactions within your portfolio as well. So as you can see here, out of that £2,600 profit, we can see £1,700 is capital gain, £400 is actual realized capital gain that I have took out of the portfolio by selling different stocks and shares. I've received over £500 dividend payments. And then you can see I've had close to £140 in fees and taxes I've had to pay, but also received plus £62 in other transactions, which brings me to the total of plus £2,600 in the portfolio, which is an 8.2% return. You may be looking at this and thinking, to have so much money invested and to only see this amount of return, you would not be happy with this, but I've only been investing for a year and a half right now, and the market has just took a big dip over the last couple of days, so the market is down around about 2 to 3% over the last couple of days, and since it has took that dip, that is why I was able to heavily invest my uninvested cash into the portfolio and actually hit this £1,000 in predicted annual dividend income, which I'm so happy to hit because I didn't think I'd be able to hit it by the end of 2024, but due to this market dip, I was able to really deploy that cash in areas I thought was going to be valuable, and from that, I surpassed that £1,000 mark. If you look at this pie here, one thing that also is shown really nicely on Snowball Analytics is it breaks down the different percentage of your portfolio that is in each sector. So we can see funds, also known as ETFs, is just over 30% of my portfolio right now. My next biggest is consumer staples at around about 11%. We then have consumer discretionary, also 11%. Real estate at 10%. Technology at 9%. Energy at 8%. Financials at 6%. And then some of the smaller ones are utilities at 4.5%, industrials at 2%, healthcare at 2%, and communication services at just over 1%. So that can show you a nice little breakdown of the portfolio. If you are overly invested in one area and not diversified enough, it's quite nice because it will show you this on here. Personally, I want to be getting this ETF allocation over the next year up closer to that 40 to 50% mark rather than being down at 30%, as that is under a third of my portfolio, and I believe it's really important to have ETFs as the core holding in my portfolio moving forward. I mainly currently invest into the S&P 500, which I do on a weekly basis as I dollar cost average into it, and I do the same for VEVE. And then when I see fit, I like to invest into the JP Morgan Global Equity Premium because I really do like the motivation that it brings me from investing into ETFs that have a slightly higher dividend yield, and it keeps my motivation high. And then the VWRL, I used to invest into this ETF right at the start, and I have just over £3,000 in value in this current position, but I recently swapped to VEVE as I just see more value over the long term investing into this one, hence why I now still dollar cost average into this and also VUSA. Before I get comments on the overlap between the two, I know that there's an overlap, but these are stocks that I'm very comfortable to have overlapping between two different ETFs, and I'm very happy to have a bigger allocation into these particular stocks as a lot of them are the usual blue chip stocks. Moving on, if we have a look into the rest of the portfolio, you can actually see the different amount of stocks I have in each sector, with there being 4 in the consumer staples, 3 in consumer discretionary, 3 in the real estate, 4 in technology, 3 in energy, 3 in financials, 2 in utility, and then we have 1 in all of industrial, healthcare, and communication services. So if I take a scroll down on the screen here, it also shows you on the Snowball Analytics app the different stocks that have been performing well today, and then also the stocks that have been performing the worst within your portfolio in one particular day. So when you log onto here, it's quite nice because it will break down what's actually doing quite well right now and what may be doing a little bit on the worst side. So this is just another really good feature within the Snowball Analytics app. And then it also shows you some of the upcoming events that have been taking place with the stocks that you currently own. So for example, here it's showing me all the different dividends that have recently paid out and what will be paying out in the coming days, as you can see here. And then if I continue scrolling down, on the right hand side we can see the actual amount of dividends I've received this year in total each month, and it actually tells you each different stock that paid me every single month and how much that amount was, which is really nice to see. And you can actually see the progress I've made back in January, only making £7 in dividend payments, all the way up to an all-time high this year in September at over £72. And if you have a little sneaky look over here, we can see at the final month of the year in December, I'm actually going to be getting my first ever month over £80, and it'll also likely creep over the £90 mark as well, being just over £91 I'm likely to receive in the month of December, which is really motivating considering I was only getting £7 at the start of this year to now receiving over £90 in a single month. As you can also see on the bar chart on the left hand side, it shows you the dividend payments that you're likely to receive over the coming year as well. So this is where that £1,000 comes from. On here it shows as £992 because when it's showing the £1,000, it's accounting for the following December instead of this December, and obviously by next December my different stocks and shares will have grown slightly, and that is why the amount is over £1,000. But even showing it here as £992.97, we can see the breakdown of where that's going to come from over the coming 12 months, and you can actually see a first month of over £100 in the month of April, which again is just such a motivating figure to hit. I remember receiving my first £10 dividend payment in total for a full month, and that was only just in February this year. So to now be looking forward to potentially next April earning over £100 and then some months being close to £150 is just so motivating for myself, and really does show that the snowball effect is starting to take place, and it's only going to continue getting bigger and bigger as I continue to reinvest those dividend payments alongside investing capital into the portfolio. Hence why the name of this app is just so fitting, with it being called Snowball Analytics. Next up, I'm going to take you into my individual stocks and show you how each position is actually performing, as I like to be transparent as possible on my channel, and I'll never not show you any positions. You can see, like I've showed you before, that I have actually made over £400 in positions I've sold out of, so I am actually up when you look at the positions that I've sold out of, and these are the current positions in my portfolio that I have. I will show you them in a cost basis, showing you from the stock that has the least amount of money invested into it to the highest amount. So the first couple stocks being Microsoft and Apple, positions I'd love to get some more money into, but right now their prices are just slightly too high for me to want to be allocating any more capital in them. And then we have ASML, Google, Legal in General, all around that £500 mark, alongside Pepsi and Target as well. Then we have the JP Morgan ETF Global Equity Premium that I was showing you before, which is also a big dividend yield stock, which is why I really enjoy having this in the portfolio. We then have Chevron, which has around about a £700 value to it. Then MasterCard at just over £800. We've got Johnson & Johnson at £750. Realty Income at a similar amount. We have JP Morgan Global Growth and Income PLC, which actually has over £800 in as well. We have BAE Systems worth over £800. National Grid just under £800 alongside Greencoat UK Wind. And then we have British American Tobacco that's just sat over that £1,000 mark. And then we have Safe Store Holdings. It's actually one of the worst performers in the portfolio, being down 11%. But I have done my stock analysis on this company, and I'm very confident that they will rebound in 2025. And I believe this position is going to be in the green by next year. And I am actually allocating a little bit more capital into them. We can see I currently have 120 shares in the stock. We then have 15 shares of Nike, which is valued at just over £900. We have Starbucks at over £1,000, Shell at £1,100, BP also over £1,000. Then we have some of the bigger allocations within the portfolio, one being Visa at over £2,000. We have the VEVE ETF at over £1,800, Louis Vuitton at just over £1,900. And then finally, on the last page, we have Diageo at £1,778, Vici Properties at over £2,000, and our two ETFs valued over £3,000 and over £5,000, which brings our portfolio overall total value to £33,865, which, considering only 18 months ago I had a portfolio value of £0, I've come a very long way since then. And I also want to remind you all that this portfolio is fully tax-free. It's all within my ISA account on Trading 212, so I pay zero tax on any of the dividends I receive or any of the capital gains that I make on stocks when I do end up deciding to sell them, which is very, very exciting, because that is going to be forever. You will never have to pay tax within a stocks and shares ISA, which is why I think it's so important to try and max it out or put as much money in as you can every single month, because over the long term you're going to be thanking yourself in years to come. And personally, I'm actually on track to maxing out the ISA for the first time this year. I came very close last year at being only a couple £1,000 short, and this year I have invested over £15,000 already, so we've got around about £5,000 to go with 4 months left, and I'm hoping I'll be able to deploy enough cash into the portfolio to max that 20k out for this year, and then we can start it all over again when the new tax year comes around in April for 2025 into 2026. So that is my portfolio. I hope you enjoyed the update and being able to see this massive milestone that I have hit. The next one will hopefully be an average of £100 per month, so we need to get this number up to around about £1,200 in annualized dividend income, which again is just going to be such a big moment for me in my portfolio. And to be honest, I didn't think I'd be hitting it this early on, so for it to be hitting this soon, it just motivates me so much more to continue investing in the portfolio, keeping my head down, staying consistent, and just doing what I've been doing over the last 18 months and continuing that on. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. This is the Geordie Pig Investor, over and out.